Do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Let's do it.
All right. And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame. Sorry about the delay, like multiple
Mm.
days. But we are here now. It's called Did Rachel Wilson Trounce This Male Feminist? Let's take a look. And before the show started, Allison and I were just talking about like VTubers.
Mm.
So
That's why we
I
were
get,
late. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
We're
that's
having a
why we're
chat.
late. Yeah. But
Yeah.
what I was gonna say, Allison, is that what I would so I can't make them because they're really complex. There's like layers, but there are people who do it like on. You can
VTubers are
probably get somebody to
layered
do it on
like
TaskRabbit
an
or
onion.
Fiverr. Yeah, they are. They're like layered, and it's like a process. But if you get one made, and you can make it of the gremlin, that would be really easy. If you can get
Yeah.
one made, um then you can like just
Capture it.
like
Yeah.
it would essentially be like a virtual camera, and I can like capture it and put it in
Yeah, and then I
OBS.
can give her more expressions so that she can
Yeah,
rage.
it'll be based
Mostly
on
just
your
rage.
expressions.
Yeah, but it'll
So
mostly just be rage.
yeah.
But yeah, that's yeah, I'll look into that. But yeah. So
So
I will
anyway,
do the things. Yeah.
yes, do the things.
feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a message and a tip with that message. I can't give you the support options because this is what I've been doing battle with for the past 3 days. The plugin that I use to create the crowdfunder has decided to capture the user login at our WordPress blog and not allow anybody to log in. And I do not know why. And I have contacted our host. Our host looked into it and then contacted their admin team, and then admin team looked into it, and nothing. We can't figure out what the heck's going on. I'd had to disable the crowdfunder plugin to, and this is the thing, is that this all happened at the final few days of the month where everybody decides to pile in, right, and finish off the fundraiser. So we're still about 825 below what we usually are, but I've been dealing with this, so I haven't actually addressed that. Incidentally, if you do want to help out, you can still do it through the tip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Be really appreciated, because this is just poorly timed for that plugin to just crap out. But anyway, like so I'm in the midst of contacting the plugin people, but they never respond to anything. Probably what they're going to do is be like, just give us $500, we'll give you your plugin back.
Yeah.
It's very aggravating. Very aggravating. Like, people ask me how I deal, because there's like periodically we get people who said, I had to leave for 10 years because I couldn't stand what you guys talk about. And then they're like, how do you deal with it? I'm like, well, because I know there's a greater horror in the world than men's issues and people's refusal to recognize them. And that's dealing with WordPress plugins. It's like a couple of days of dealing with WordPress plugins, and I'm thinking about, I'm a nihilist. I'm like, I hate this world and everything in it. And it's probably produced by a creature, an entity that hates us all. I've become a Gnostic, like, because of the fucking WordPress plugins. Anyway, once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very much appreciated if you continue to help us out a bit to finish off the fundraiser that imploded. And also apologies to everybody who tried to sign in multiple times. I did see you guys all doing that. Some of you figured it out. And what you figured out is that if you just go to the cart and sign in through the cart, it actually works. But there are a few of you who just, you couldn't get to that point. And also big thanks to Hunzi for helping me test this for the last 3 days. Very much appreciated. And yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for this month. I'll have to figure something out before we start, but that's where I'm at. And thank you everybody to support it. Very much appreciate it. Despite
did we get to our goal?
No, we're still 825 away.
Oh.
So we're pretty close, but yeah, it's just what can you do? I can't be like, oh well, go to the fundraiser and finish this off, because I can't. Nobody can log in. So I have to turn the plugin with the fundraiser off.
Yeah.
And so all I can do is be like, well, it's $825. if you want to put it through the tip and help us out for that last bit, that'd be really appreciated. And I can't, like, I've been spending so much time on this. I'm like, it's freaking exhausting. So I haven't been chilling or putting out information about where we're at. And I don't know, it's just a mess right now. I'll figure it out. I might have to get a completely different plugin that works through the commerce engine that we use. But that is another slog of a couple days. So anyway, again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Help us out if you want. Help me defeat the WordPress demon and get back to my non-Gnostic self. Non-nihilistic. No, seriously, like 3 a.m, you're just sitting and staring at the ceiling thinking, could the world get worse? I mean, I know it could get worse, but could it get existentially worse than having this spaghetti next of competing things that you have to interpret and try to find the solution to, and everything affects everything else in a cascade of just... Oh, I hate programming. All right, let's continue.
Okay, so
or at least debugging WordPress plugins.
Huh?
I said I'd hate debugging WordPress plugins.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this is, as I was saying, this is a debate. It's a lot of people have made videos chiming in on it, commenting on it, and it is between Brian Shapiro on the left and Rachel Wilson on the right of the screen. And I mean, obviously Rachel is the woman. That's what I'm getting at. But anyway, the debate topic is be it resolved. Is feminism good for women and children? So this is a discussion not about necessarily. Yeah, obviously not. No. But so Rachel is arguing no, and Brian is arguing, I guess, yes. I mean, he doesn't really make arguments much in this debate, which is why I thought it was interesting. And it's kind of like, it's not going to be the most intellectually challenging conversation, and that's not because of Rachel. I'll just say that. I think that she's trying her best to like bring forward the what?
It's an interesting reversal though, because Rachel is trying to make this coherent and logical, and the man is spazzing out like a Fruit Loop.
Yeah,
that's because okay. Just flashback to the dating panel. The men on the dating panel were doing the custodial thing and trying to turn the conversation from the complete dysregulated, contradictory, insane mess the women were producing into something that made any kind of sense. But that custodial instinct, we're going to watch it reversed, I guess, with Rachel trying to make a dysregulated baboon make sense, or at least his output make sense. But I'm also going to make another prediction. Okay. There's going to be a lot of relational web signaling from this man, trying to not attack Rachel's actual arguments, but her legitimacy in the relational web, so that her arguments become illegitimate because she occupies the wrong position in the relational web. That's what I'm predicting, but I don't know. I haven't watched it, so
yeah.
I guess we
let's
into
do the opening statements.
Together.
Yeah, okay. Let's do the opening statements. So he's starting, and again, the topic is feminism good for women and children? Okay.
I like to think it's going to be history versus common sense. You guys can decide for yourselves. It's funny.
Okay.
Hold on, Allison. I got just the thing for this.
Literally, just maybe 100 or so years ago, 100 and such a few years ago, that women were still viewed as chattel.
Okay, that's basically his argument.
Okay. So basically, right off the bat, that's relational web signaling. He's basically saying you wouldn't even be part of the relational web, lady, if it weren't for feminism. You wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't even be a node in the web. Your opinion wouldn't matter because men never cared about women's opinions until feminism. They
Yep.
never cared at all about women's opinions until feminism. Feminism is the thing that made men care about women. Feminism, a politicized nagging, is the only thing in all of human history that made men care about women. Prior to that, men never built shelter for women. They never harvested for women. They never protected women. They never changed legal codes to give women specific protections in marriage and in their communities. By the way, they did. Just a little FYI. Every code that I have looked at so far has had specific provisions for the protection and provision of women. Doesn't matter what era you draw from. That didn't exist for men. Okay, so no, men did none of this. Men never behaved custodially towards women or cared about their opinion prior to feminism. Feminism made men human.
Yes. Feminism made men human.
Okay.
All right.
She would not have been paid to write her book if not for feminism. And the
Jane Austen
hard to give
was
her the
paid
opportunity.
to write her book in like the 1800s, right? Probably since there were books that could be written, women have been paid to write them. Like,
As long as, yeah, for as long as people were able to write, there were
I think
probably
the first
women writing.
novel was written by a Japanese woman in like, I don't know, some insanely like 1400s or something. Like this is yeah, we're
Yeah.
going to be getting a lot of this nonsense, aren't we?
Yeah. Let's just keep going. I'm not going to spoil anything.
To do this. Now listen, I don't care how much money she's getting paid. I don't care how much money her husband makes. The fact of the matter is that she wouldn't be here if not for feminism. Again, not an opinion, fact. I've never been called a feminist before. I've been called a lot of things by a lot of people. Never been called a feminist because I don't think I am one. I'm just somebody that doesn't like to tell other people what to do with their lives, man or woman. Who am I to tell a woman, you should stay at home? You shouldn't be in the workplace. You shouldn't have kids after 30. No. I want people to live their lives and do the things that they want to do because life is short. What right?
Wait a second.
Man or woman.
Wait a second, but you won't allow that women contradict feminism.
Of course not.
Like literally, you can't contradict
I let
feminism.
people do whatever they want except disagree with me.
If you contradict feminism, if you are a woman who contradicts feminism, then you deserve to be silenced. You deserve probably to be tied to a post and horsewhipped. But I let women do whatever they want, and whatever they want. I'm curious if his response to Rachel Wilson doing what she wants might indicate that he is has a serious emotional problem with women not doing what he wants. I'm curious. This is my curiosity is piqued. My
Okay.
social web senses are tingling. Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
I'm going to tell you what to do with your life. Now, I'm not really sure, and I'll ask Rachel this question. What does this country look like for her? Does she not want women to work at all? Does she want us to be a third world country like Afghanistan where women are not allowed to work? Now, you're going to hear this word a lot in this debate. No, it's not going to be Donald Trump. But you're going to hear the word hypocrisy a lot. Because Rachel has made decisions in her life because of feminism.
I let women do whatever they want, except disagree with the ideology that subordinates their agency to my agency as a man. Hypocrisy. Oh, look in the mirror, sir.
Well, I mean, just saying the word hypocrisy doesn't. I don't know. I think he misapplies it actually. But let's keep going.
To get out of relationships because of feminism. It wasn't even that long ago where women were in abusive relationships, but they weren't allowed to get out of those relationships. I don't care about someone's personal life. I don't care how
Okay,
many
which
baby daddies they
legal
have.
system are you talking about, sir? Are you talking about Dane's law, Roman law, Salic
He
law,
doesn't go into that. He just basically
English common
presumes that
law?
before feminism came
Because
along, women were just eternally stuck in abusive relationships
no,
and they
every
just could not
single
get out. Like they had no option. They just had to be abused.
legal
Sit there
system,
and take it.
in particular English common law, which would be the direct precursor of what we live in, had recourse for women in abusive relationships. And hell, if she didn't even want to call him abusive, she could just say he can't get it up. And then the local court would send its erection verifiers, which would be like a bunch of old women. And if he was unable to get an erection while they were observing him, he would be divorced. You don't even have to allege abuse. Just threaten him with the erection verifiers, like the old witches who are going to poke at his dick. And if he can't get erect while they're doing it, they're going to be like, oh, he's impotent. He can't be her husband anymore. Throw him to the wolves. They did that, if you can believe it. Okay, all right.
All right, I get a super chat from Senior Sticks 3011, and he says he may actually believe it or he is working hard. All right, let's keep going.
I don't care how many ex-husbands they have. It's not my business. But in this debate, it is my business because she's telling other people.
Whoa, oh shit! Did you see
He's
that,
getting
Brian?
personal now.
It's not my business to tell. Okay, all right, but you just did. What a freaking,
No,
what
he's doing is he's setting up because he says I don't care how many baby daddies you have or how many kids you have or whatever or divorces you have. But he's doing that because he's about to like bring Rachel's personal history into it. That's what he's setting up.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know. He doesn't care, but he's going to use that information to invalidate her position.
Yes.
That's regardless of the fact that her position is her position. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if she's a hypocrite, right? It doesn't matter because the arguments stand on their own merits. And this is the thing that he can't acknowledge. And so he's going to do these things. He's going to snip away at the threads that he thinks connect her to legitimacy in the web. That's what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He's setting up a narrative in which he attacks her ability to speak and be heard, not what she's saying.
Yes, right. He tries to invalidate her, full stop. Okay, so I got a super chat from Shadow Ryu PMP for 10 euros, and they say they simply do not know how to go against their programming. Yes. All right, let's keep going. Thank you for the super chats, guys.
Why is it okay for her to do that, but not others? I defer.
Thank you very much for
that. Well, why is it okay for her? Because it isn't. She would probably be the first to say it wasn't. Yes, that she made mistakes. And
maybe people who have made mistakes have some, like, I don't know, some useful information for people who have not yet made mistakes.
Exactly. Useful information for people. And also, if, you can turn another leaf or turn over a new leaf, right? She can say, I made these mistakes and I'm committed not to continue to make these mistakes, but you have to recognize them as mistakes in order to say that. That's completely different than a single mother who's on her, I don't know, third baby daddy, who thinks that she deserves a six-figure man, the 666, and that the world is obligated to provide that for her, and that she even deserves a man who is custodial towards her child. And it's like, well, no, you're not going to get that, because what you're signaling is that you do not value the relationship between a man and his child. So why would you expect to get a man who values his relationship to a child? Those men are going to be repulsed by you. So what you're going to end up in the best case scenario is a man who's basically indifferent to your children, right? And he'll have sex with you, keep the finances completely separate, not get into too deep a relationship with you because you already demonstrate that you walk away from men. And that's your best case scenario, is occasional male companionship. Your worst case scenario is you're attracting men who are specifically after your daughters or your sons, right? Don't do that. And Rachel Wilson is fully able, as far as I can tell, to say, this is not a good pattern of behavior. I have engaged in it and I am trying to stop. My name is Rachel Wilson. I am an alcoholic, that kind of thing. I'm not saying she's an alcoholic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I'm pledged to turn my behavior around, to respect my relationships that I do have now and appreciate them, and not engage in this behavior again. But that requires recognizing it as a mistake, and that's not hypocrisy, right? That is not hypocrisy. It's also not her being cruel to other women when she says, these are the mistakes I made. They have made my life considerably worse. Do not make them yourselves, because you may not be as lucky as I am, right? She found Andrew Wilson.
Yep.
It's very uncommon for women in her situation to find an Andrew Wilson. Very uncommon. And honestly, if you're a typical single mother with multiple baby daddies who thinks that you're hot shit and treats men with contempt as a general category, you are definitely not going to find an Andrew Wilson. 100%. Because you're an asshole. So at the very least, if you're in that category, you might want to actually start to appreciate men, so that you have a higher chance of actually finding a man who will weight the fact you appreciate men highly enough that they will deal with, they'll sort of ameliorate your other negative qualities and life choices. Right? Because the only time I have seen a good outcome from a woman getting a divorce, even just a divorce, right, just from one man, much less from multiple men, the only time I've seen a good outcome is when that woman is specifically dedicated to caring about men, has specifically challenged and removed that generalized contempt towards men as a category in her life. That's the only time I've seen a good outcome from a woman getting divorced. Mm-hmm. And usually that's because the divorce was a result of a genuine incompatibility. Not just he doesn't provide 150% of everything I need and everything I can invent to need. So anyway, that's something to consider. Okay, let's continue.
All right, let's continue. Now Rachel's rebuttal.
We're going to kick it over to Rachel for her 5-minute opening as well.
Well, it's an opening, not a rebuttal per se, but
Rachel, I have the timer set for you. The floor is all yours.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody, and being here. It's great to see so many faces, and all of you online watching, thanks for your support. Thank you to Andrew for giving me something beautiful to look at in the front row. A whole straw man opening is brand new for me, but that should be fun. So for my opening, the topic of the debate is, has feminism been good for women and children? I'm glad we're talking about this, because the whole reason I do this is that feminism has destroyed the lives of children. So let's talk about the promises of feminism, what it told women.
Why has she suddenly got an echo?
How they got.
What?
Why does she suddenly have an echo? He didn't have an echo.
Yeah, I think. Hold on a second.
Is that you or is that?
Yeah, it might be me, but I don't know why. I'll just plug in my headphones.
It might also be the video.
No, I don't think it is, because I've watched it. So.
Okay, all right. Well then, let's try to fix that. I will once again beseech you guys, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. If you're feeling charitable and want to help me out with my fight against the plugin, also consider helping us out with that $825 shortfall this month, and you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And yeah, okay, Brian.
Okay, let's continue.
Suffrage passed, how they got the whole agenda passed. It was supposed to provide women with safety, equality, and happiness. Let's look at the last 100 years and see if feminism has delivered on any of those promises to women and kids. So after no-fault divorce became kind of the law of the land starting in the 60s and spread across the country, We changed all of society. Prior to 1950, there were only about 2% of kids living with single parents in a single parent home. Now that number is over 40%. Contrary to popular belief, women were allowed to leave abusive and dangerous marriages prior to no fault. No fault divorce didn't mean no divorce. It just meant you have to have a reason. So in the year 1900 alone, there were over 55,700 divorces granted to women for reasons like abuse or abandonment. Now you can just get one because you're not feeling it anymore. So what we have is broken homes, and the effects of broken homes on kids are extremely well explained in the data across all the data sets, and they're very consistent over time. So after this big wave of divorce in the 80s and all these newly single parent homes, children experienced a lot of destabilization in their lives, which put them at risk for everything you can think of. From, let's take a look at this.
Can we just stop a minute? I want to point something out.
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking bastard.
Yeah. You see how he's looking at her? Holy shit.
Oh yeah, I know. And compare that to the panel that we watched, where those guys, like, the women were literally farting out total bullshit and incoherent anti-male nonsense, and the guys across from them were trying to smooth it out into something polite and worthy of consideration. Did you remember that? Like that dating panel? The four
Yeah, of
guys,
course I do. Yeah. Of course.
They went out of their way to create an environment in which those women's insanity wasn't exposed. Like, the men were literally custodially ushering the conversation in a way that the women's insanity became less obvious. And they even tried to, like, elicit some information. Like, they didn't express any actual sexual interest in the women, but they were still responding to the women custodially, even though what the women were giving them was incoherent, chaotic, hateful nonsense. And this guy is next to a woman who is giving him compassionate to men, compassionate to children and families, coherent, logical arguments, and he's responding like he wants to take her into a parking lot and shoot her in the back of the head.
He's got a Russian
In
Deadpool
Minecraft.
face.
He's got Russian Deadpool.
That is one angry leprechaun right there.
Yeah. he's doing Russian Deadpool face right there. Mm-hmm. I probably should mention him because he probably still, but I don't think he's getting out of jail anytime soon. But anyway, yeah. This is what I'm talking about. He doesn't have a latent custodial behavior towards women. Now, like, for example, the Whatever podcast is different from the panel that I'm talking about. They don't offer women that latent custodial, okay, I'm going to listen to you and try to bring something sensible out of your incoherent nonsense, drivel. They actually poke at it. But you know why they're doing that? Because they're withholding the custodial impulse, and because these women haven't earned it. Like, right here, again, Rachel Wilson, what is she doing? She's expressing a certain amount of compassion towards men generally. She is coherent. She's giving him a lot of material to work with. And he's responding to it with murderous fury. He has no custodial input. Like, it's not the Whatever podcast. The women are giving them drivel and they are matching their energy, shall we say. That's not what's happening here. He's expressing murderous fury towards a woman who has earned every right to at least be considered, right? Even when I talk to, like, conservative men and I'm saying something that they disagree with, it's usually the register that the conversation takes place in is still custodial, if that makes sense. It still doesn't go certain places. They're not as harshly dismissive as they would be towards another man.
Yeah.
But when you disagree with a feminist, I don't know if they just don't have that custodial orientation towards women, but they certainly aren't offering it. Well, some do. Some are the make me a sandwich guy.
Brian even said at the beginning that he doesn't think of himself as a feminist. I mean, he's obviously like he's defending feminism by regurgitating the talking points. So even if he doesn't believe it, he kind of is one. But it's
Yes,
interesting that he says, I don't call myself that. It's almost like he doesn't think that as a man he deserves the right to hold that position. So he's like, I'm just
deserves the right to express this kind of murderous rage towards Rachel for doing nothing but being polite.
Yeah,
and
I know.
logical
He's a lolcow of
coherent.
the highest order.
Like, but to get like the make me a sandwich guy, the guy who said make me a sandwich to Karen, Cenk Uygur, right? He's a feminist who probably is still custodial towards women. So that's possible, but there are those who, when you disagree with them, they think they look like they're murderous. And you don't see that with men generally, because men generally respond to women custodially, and they'll smooth over things and reduce the amount of conflict. That's what's interesting about the Whatever podcast. But the distinction with the Whatever podcast is, again, they're matching energy. If the women bring them drivel, they're going to poke holes in it. That's what's interesting about them.
Yeah.
But probably outside of that circumstance, they still are custodial towards women. It's just like, for example, if the Whatever podcast was bombed, I would bet that the guys on that panel would immediately go into protection mode, because that's what men do. This guy would probably let Rachel die in a puddle of blood. So there's something missing. And I'm wondering if when men have that thing missing, if they're attracted to feminism or what's going on.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Homes account for children. 90% of kids who are homeless come from a fatherless home. 85% with behavioral disorders. 75% of kids in substance abuse treatment centers. 88% of kids who are committed to psych wards come from broken homes. If you look at abuse of all kinds, all the data sets show that kids who are living with a single mom and their partner are at the highest risk, more than 10 times more risk than children who are living with both married biological parents. Also for women, domestic violence didn't go away because of no-fault divorce. It shifted to cohabitative relationships. So the domestic violence rate dropped for married couples, but it skyrocketed for cohabitating couples. You are at 40% higher risk of getting abused by your boyfriend than you are your husband if you live with your boyfriend. So much for safety, I guess. What about equality? Well, men still do all the dirty, dangerous, difficult jobs. 92% of all work deaths are men. 90% of all infrastructure jobs, the essential infrastructure jobs that run everything you see here, are done by men.
I'm pausing here for just a second. The reason why I'm playing Rachel's rebuttal is so we can see the contrast in how they're approaching this debate, okay? So that's why I'm presenting this. But okay, let's keep going.
Women get less time for the same crime. Men get 30% longer sentences. Women get 40% more probation than sentences for the exact same crimes as men. Single mother households dominate welfare. 85% of SNAP money goes to women, to single moms. And if you look at welfare and out-of-wedlock births on a graph, they go up in tandem over the last 70 years together. So what about happiness? Are women happy? Well, unfortunately, no. We now have 26% of all American women are on at least one psychiatric drug. There's been 2 major studies done on women's happiness since sexual liberation. The paradox of declining female happiness and a follow-up study called the female happiness paradox. Both data sets across time, culture, economic status did not matter. Women's happiness has decreased both absolutely and relative to men. So in summary, no, feminism didn't deliver on its promises. It hadn't made women and children safer or happier. It made them more vulnerable to abuse and exploitation by removing the men that have the most interest in protecting them, and that
was the point.
Fathers and their own husbands.
And that was the point. I gotta get in here because there's a couple things that I should be added to this. The happiness metrics are a bit misleading because there are two different things they're measuring: how much women say they're happy and more objective measures of happiness. So whether or not you've had mental health breakdown, what kind of, if you've had interruptions to work, to sleeping and stuff like that. When you look at the subjective measures, women are doing not as bad and more like in the same range as men. When you look at the more objective measures, they're doing significantly worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are absolutely worse off, and they have been for a long time. And when you look at men's objective measures, they are, they're generally calmer, they're more stable, they have less mental health issues. Yes, there's suicide, but I think suicide comes from is a manifestation of burdensomeness narratives that are placed atypically on men in our society. So that's a separate psychological stressor that only men really have. And but in general, in the day to day, men are doing significantly better on every metric, probably even loneliness, hope, sense of purpose, not having mental health problems. So women will say they're great. And it was probably an interaction between, they're supposed to say that because, we're in a feminist society and they're liberated, and what's actually happening, which is women are in a very bad shape. We talk about the male loneliness crisis, but women are in our society are actually in on objective measures significantly worse shape. They will never admit it because that would mean admitting that the narrative is wrong, but it's there. And women are basically suicidal, but they can't bring themselves to end their misery in Minecraft. Because I don't want to get hit with the censors on YouTube. I mean, not the censors, but like the things that give us strikes, because we got a strike for just reporting on the sexual abuse of a boy. Did you know that, Brian?
No. When did that happen? How long ago?
It happened a couple months ago. I don't know if it's over yet, but yes, you essentially reported on a case where a boy was sexually abused, and we got a strike for that. I don't know, and I appealed it, and it was like, oh no, this is correct. I'm like, it's not. But anyway, so it gives strikes for talking about sensitive topics.
Yeah.
Because I guess YouTube just doesn't want people to talk about sensitive topics.
Well, now we have AI scanning videos in real time. Like, yeah. So, okay. So should we continue? I want to hear his response to her, or do you want to say something else?
Yeah, I wanted to say about the women's metrics being worse.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
But of course, the feminist response to that is, feminism isn't about making women happy. Then what is it about? Right? Like, what is this about? You're making women objectively more miserable. You're ruining their reproductive opportunities, right? And you are replacing them with things that they normally wouldn't want. And you're doing all of that to privilege a minority of politically connected women and provide them resources. And those politically connected women are still getting married and having children. They're just putting all of the resources that they gather from the women who aren't into their children and their families, right? And then the other thing that they're doing is they're using this narrative as a firewall to protect men, or mostly men, but there's also women in this class, who are extractive, who are exploitative, to protect them from the oversight that they would naturally have to deal with if normal men were still weren't like in a situation where they regard their protectiveness as some form of oppression. You get what I'm saying? Like, it creates a climate where these extractors can operate because you've basically neutralized the protective impulses of men who can identify them. Like, women have trouble with it. They literally, they have trouble recognizing extractive men because they see things through social web, which means if the extractive men are just saying the right things, these women don't know. They're mesmerized. They can't tell that the man is being extractive, but a man can pick it up instantly because he's not looking at what the man says. He's looking at what he's doing, because that's operative thinking, right? And if you want to be, if you want to be in an extractive class, stealing from everybody, you got to turn off men's operative defenses. What does feminism do? It makes men think that when they have problems with something, that it's an expression of privilege or toxic masculinity, that they're being oppressive towards women. And then it shuts down that basically that immune function that men provide to protect societies from extractors. So that's what feminism has done. So yeah, and then feminism will turn around and say, well, the misery that feminism gives you women is just the cost of your liberation. And so you should shut up about your misery and realize you don't have a right to feel it, because it's the cost of the liberation that feminism has given you.
Yep.
Perfect circle.
All right. Should we keep going?
Yes, let's keep going.
Okay, let's keep going.
Thank you very much for that 5-minute opening as well. We will jump into the rebuttals. These are 5 minutes as well. Brian, I've got the timer set for you. The floor is all yours.
The word would be hypocrisy. Rachel just talked about abuse, divorce. I want to be very clear with what I'm about to say. It is normally not my business to talk about how many children you have, how many ex-husbands you have. But when you have somebody to my left who wants to tell other women how to live their lives, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to bring up some studies. Now, Rachel has 3 baby daddies. Why is that important? Well, Guzzo and Firstberg's study says that if you do have multiple baby daddies, the family has higher stress, more likely to have more mental health issues, the things that you claim that you care so much about. I do as well. The Dorius study, lower income and families most likely in children have a lower education rate. The Rutgers study, you just talked about physical violence. The Rutgers study, which, by the way, these studies have just come out in the last couple of years. You could look it up if you would like on your phone. By the way, you want to go back to 50 years or 100 years ago, then why do you use a cell phone? I'm just curious. Why do you use a cell phone? You can laugh, but if you want to go back to the way things were 50 or 100 years ago, we were a slavery nation. Are we still a slavery nation now? Do you want to go?
Literally just maybe 100 or so years ago, 100 and such a few years ago, that women were still viewed as child.
You want to go back 100 years to slavery, guys? 1916 or 1926 when we had slaves. Okay, I'm sorry. This is just incoherent, but let's keep going.
Back to slavery? Should black people be allowed to vote? I'd love you to answer those.
Is it
questions. But anyway,
possible? Okay, in his world, is it possible that we can just recognize the lessons from the past, recognize the lessons from the present, and go forward with a more sensible game plan? Or does everything either feminist or slavery? She could simply say, well, let's not go backwards.
She never
However,
said that we should go back to anything, by the way.
No.
I just want to point out, she doesn't say anything about going back in time. She's just saying these are the changes we put in place, the policies, whatever, that have led to this disaster. That's it. Like, we're in a mess now because of this thing that happened in the past. But go ahead.
Yes, but we don't even have to, we don't have to actually go back to, we probably don't even have to go back to fault divorce. We could just do presumption of shared custody, and it pretty much solves a lot of this. which is something nobody's ever tried. It's actually something completely new. And it's basically just, okay, well, fine, you can have divorce, but we're going to respect the father's relationship to his children as much as we respect the mother's relationship to his children, or to her children. And then what happens? Divorce goes down and everybody's happier. But we've never done that in the past. Okay? That's actually would be a specific innovation of our society, which might actually be a significant improvement on any system we've ever had. And it's not going back in the slightest. It's going forward with full knowledge of the chaos that we created. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? This is a false dichotomy between the chaos feminism has created and past systems. And I'm not even saying that past systems were against women, because I don't think they were. In some cases, I think they were more against men. So we can go forward instead of backward. So it's either feminism, the feminist presence in his mind, it's either the feminist present or backwards. And it's like, no, you're missing the forward option, which is funny because he'd probably call himself a progressive. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep going.
Back to that Rutgers study. If you have multiple baby daddies, there's a much higher rate, in fact, a 24% higher risk of physical violence and sex abuse. A Halpern study, among other studies.
Why is he bringing up her studies?
Yeah, I know. He's basically he thinks he's like dunking on her, and she's agreeing with all of it. She's like, yeah, all that's true. Yes, this is what I'm getting at. Thank you for making my arguments for me.
Yeah, I've been there,
But I think that there's like but he's giving it more of an emotional, the way he says it, the body language,
Yeah, but what's hilarious is he'd be looking at somebody who's built like a lighthouse, and he'd be like, you only built this lighthouse because you crashed your ships on the rock. Therefore, we should dismantle your lighthouse because it's hypocritical. It's like, does that make sense to anyone? But that's that is the form of his argument. Because you crashed your ships on the rock and that motivated you to build a lighthouse, you are hypocritical for running that lighthouse, and we should destroy it. That is his argument. That is how much sense it makes.
Yep. Okay.
So the poverty line, if you have multiple baby daddies. Now, you might tell me right now, and I would believe you, if you said, I got through it. My kids grew up to be great people. And I would say, I'm happy for you. I think that's great. But why is it okay for you, but not okay for them? Why is it okay for you to say, well, you know what, I made some, maybe you won't say it was a mistake. I don't know. I'll ask you. But why would it be okay for you hypothetically to say, I made some mistakes, but, everything turned out okay. My kids turned out okay. Why can't other women use those same excuses if they have kids after 30, or if they want their own career? If you want to be a stay-at-home mom with kids, I think that's great.
Okay, so basically what he's saying now is your ship nearly dashed on the rocks, right? And you realize how close you came to being destroyed by those rocks. And then you pulled ashore and you got out of your ship and you went up to the promontory and you built a lighthouse to ward all of the other women from those rocks. And because you survived to build that lighthouse, why can't you let other women just dash themselves on the rocks?
I know. Who are you to say that other women shouldn't be allowed to almost completely ruin their lives? Why? How dare you step in and tell them, this might not be a good idea? It's so crazy. That's not freedom. Yeah, you made it.
How dare you say to other women that they're unlikely to make it, even though you can clearly see the graveyard of ships in the bay.
This is an argument he is making. This is literally a thing.
This is one of the arguments of all time.
It is. Okay.
But if you want to be out there in the workforce and be a doctor or a lawyer, You should be allowed to do that too, and Bible thumpers shouldn't be telling you what you should or shouldn't do. That's exactly what you do, Rachel. So I'd like you to explain to this audience right now why it's okay for you to have 3 baby daddies, why it's okay for you to take those risks and those studies that I just mentioned for your kids, but why is it not?
Why was it okay for you to sail close to the rocks and avoid disaster and then decide to build a lighthouse for other people? Why would you ward people away from the rocks when you survived, even though you can see all the shipwrecks? Why would you do that, Rachel? Why?
You know what really blows my mind is the amount of confidence he has in his voice when he's saying this. Like, there's no, wait a minute, that's actually retarded. But, like, anyway, but like, to say something so dumb with such confidence is mind-boggling to me. It's shocking. And this guy, by the way, over 100,000 subscribers to his channel, massive audience compared to us, for example. So kind of wild. Does radio. Did you know that? Brian Shapiro does AM and FM radio shows as well in Las Vegas or something. Like, this guy, he's definitely got a platform. But anyway. Look at this, the swollen paws. Like, I got her. She's done. Okay, anyway.
We will switch over to Rachel for her 5-minute rebuttal. Got the timer set for you, Rachel. The floor is all yours.
So what you just heard was amateur hour of somebody who does not know how to make an argument, somebody who doesn't know what a debate is or how to
Ad hominem
have a
attacks.
debate. You can't
Ad hominem
interrupt.
attacks.
You can't.
Well, you can't interrupt during the
No.
Yep, go ahead.
That is not an ad hominem attack, sir. That is an observation that is unflattering. There is a difference.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is the person who did the ad hominem attacks. He didn't present an argument. He just said, what about you? He used a tu quoque fallacy. What about you, though? This debate has nothing to do with my life or your life or
Yes,
my
it does.
personal life or your personal life.
We got to mute you.
Okay.
You're going to interrupt.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys what he's doing right here because it's relational web thinking. He's not attacking the content of her arguments. He's attacking, it's a move that Natty did with me. He's attacking where they came from emotionally, right? Or where they came from in her experience. So if the arguments don't come from the right place, they're wrong, which is ridiculous, but it's a relational web thinking, which considers the source, but not in terms of the veracity of the methodology of the source or the bias of the source. Well, it does consider the bias of the source, but the veracity of the methodology while separating out potential bias or whatever external features of the source that aren't related to the argument itself, what the source is delivering. That is a relational web strategy. Attack the position in the web, not the actual argument. That's what he's doing. And I suspect that men who use relational web thinking either don't have the kind of endocrine and cognitive architecture of most men, or they are learning to use it because it's socially valuable. But in either case, they're pulling cognitive resources from that custodial operative position into the relational position. Okay, anyway, that's a little bit esoteric, so let's keep going.
Okay, let's keep going.
Staggering lack of self-control. So again, another fallacy, a straw man fallacy. My argument was not that I can tell women what to do. My whole entire opening was just explaining what has happened to society in general, going over data. There was no.
Did you catch that chimp threat grimace there? That brief little chimp threat grimace?
Chimp threat. Yes, I did. Okay.
There's no condemnation of women who need to leave abusive relationships like I did. There was no, we need to go back to slavery, which was 50 years ago, I guess. Again, not sure how this person is employed in media. But all that aside, he did not address any of the arguments I made, which were that, actually what he did was support my arguments by saying, yeah, when families are broken up, it's bad for kids. When we see divorce, rampant divorce, children raised in single household families, it's bad for kids. Yes, it is. Now, if everyone was—
But Rachel, you survived all that, so you can't point it out.
Yeah, you can't point it out. You went through it. That makes you a hypocrite for some reason. You know those. I thought about this too. I watched this with Lindsay, and I said basically this guy is essentially condemning the. You guys know about the Scared Straight programs. Sometimes they do this in like in big cities, like in urban areas, right, where they'll bring an ex-convict to a school to have the ex-convict talk to the kids about like basically avoiding getting into crime. And they would explain their life to the children, to be like, well, this is what happened to me. This is what I did. This is what I got into. And they're specifically, these are convicts. These are prisoners or ex-convicts that are trying to prevent children, boys specifically, from making the same mistakes that they did. So they're telling them their life story. Rachel is essentially that exact same example, except, what single moms or a woman who's been through like, a couple of like bad like marriages and had kids be harmed in the process. And she is now, and maybe she always felt this way, but just made mistakes. I don't know. But she is trying to prevent other women from making the mistakes that she made in the same way that an ex-convict wants to prevent children from making the same mistakes that he made. And Brian Shapiro is condemning that. Like, it would be like walking in on that, on the Scared Straight program and saying, well, who are you to tell these kids that they shouldn't go out and commit crimes? They might not go to jail. It's the same thing. So anyway, I got a Rumble rant. I'm going to read it really quick from NovaFan21. He gives $1. Thank you, NovaFan. And says, Brian Shapiro, feminism allowed women to become doctors. This is a great thing. Dr. Verma, there are more than 2 genders and men can get pregnant. Me, you were saying? All right, thank you for that. I think that most doctors are probably okay if they're male or female. But yeah, I mean, nothing is necessarily made better like writ large just because women got involved. That doesn't necessarily make them better or worse. Well, maybe worse in some ways. Anyway, Allison, do you want to say anything before I keep going? You're muted,
I'm having a little bit of a comment or a argument in the comments.
Oh.
But I'll focus. No, I agree. I was listening to you. Yes.
All right.
Let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going.
In instances of abuse or abandonment, we would see divorce rates much closer to numbers that we had prior to no fault. You would see, if you look at surveys, the reasons for divorce, things like legitimate physical abuse are very far down on the list. They're usually like 4th or 5th. The number one reason is irreconcilable differences. I fell out of love. Mr. Johnson down the street makes me feel sexy. I need to find myself. And the kids are resilient and they'll get over it. What I'm against is this frivolous breaking down of families to chase personal happiness. The kids don't get over it. We have massive studies on what happens to children after divorce. And as Brian brilliantly laid out, it's very bad for kids. We see the worst outcomes for children coming from broken homes. So the argument is not no one can get divorced. The argument is divorce should only be permitted for very good reasons. That was the historic norm for the church. I'm not saying that women can't work outside the home ever. I'm saying that mothers already have a full-time job and that pushing them to work outside the home, creating the 2-income trap that's been laid for us by feminism, reduced women's choices. It didn't give us more choices. There was never a time when women were not allowed to work. It just wasn't the norm because women already had a full-time job, especially prior to the birth control pill in 1965, when most women had an average of 3 to 7 kids, depending on what time frame you're looking at. That's a full-time job. It didn't make sense to send women out to do men's jobs. It didn't make any sense to push them outside the home and force them to work. And now women like me who want to stay home struggle and find that they can't, and find that they have to work when all they really want to do is be at home raising their own children, and they're forced to try to outsource that, which is why most women only have 1 or 2 children anymore. You can't afford to put 5 kids in daycare. So we have very small families, we have lower birth rates.
Actually,
and we have
I have to correct all this. The one thing that's driving the birth rate crisis is women not getting married. Full stop. That's it.
Yeah.
Because once women get married, they have about the same amount of kids they always had. So how it works is, since the 90s, since like the whole birth control, introduction of birth control stabilized the amount of children that married women produce. Since then, married women produce the same amount. So married women actually do produce children at around replacement rate.
I don't think she would disagree with that. I think, but go on. Go on.
What she's saying is that it's actually work and others. No, it's not, because she's opening up a problem for people's arguments going down. And I'm not saying this because I dislike Rachel Wilson. It's because I can see the downstream effects of this argument. It is not how much women work. It is not the resources that they have. It is not the social pressures, right? This is not why they're not having children. And you cannot make women have children by reducing their workload, by increasing the amount of money they have, by increasing daycare or any other factors. That's not going to change anything. So people need to stop talking about that, because those are actually the things that are making the birth rate crisis worse. Giving women more stuff makes the birth rate crisis worse. And the reason why is because when you give women more stuff, they don't get married. Okay? And there is no ethical obligation to pour more resources onto women for no reason. I'm sorry. There is no ethical obligation to do this. And the downstream effect of doing that is a lower and lower and lower and lower birth rate. Making women more comfortable actually decreases the birth rate. So we cannot look at this in terms of giving women anything. That has to stop. We have to look at it precisely in terms of women need to be in bonds with men. Full stop. That is the only thing that is going to increase the birth rate. We need to fix the problem of women and men not pairing up.
Yeah, I mean, poor people who are married have a lot of kids.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Women who work a lot have kids. If a woman is married, she is having replacement level numbers of kids. If she is not married, she is not having replacement level numbers of kids. And the decline in the birth rate isn't due to married women. They haven't declined since the 90s. And if all women were married, or a significant portion of women were married, we would be fine. Right? If that is the gate, black and white gate. If most women were married, we would be at replacement level. The reason we're not at replacement level is because most women aren't marrying. They're staying single, and single women do not reproduce. Full stop. And they're reproducing less and less over time. So at one point, women, they were 4.5 or something. Now they're at less than 2 or at 2%. With single women are reproducing even less. So the more resources we give women, the more we destroy our reproduction. The more, if we actually look at why men and women are not pairing up and fix that, then the birth rate crisis will reverse. And if we want to bump women's fertility in marriages up, shared custody is how you do it. So those are the two things we need to do. One, we need to get men and women pairing up again and marrying. And two, we need shared custody. Those are the two things. And if we cannot do them, there is nothing else that will work. And any idea of giving women more time, more financial resources, more daycare, more comfort, all of that will only add fuel to the fire and make it worse. So this idea that we need to push more resources into women to make them productive, to make them have children, needs to die.
Yeah.
It's not just gynocentric, it's actively toxic. It's actively destroying our future. Like, everybody needs to abandon it. And if conservatives can't abandon it, they're not going to be part of the future. If they can't abandon the idea that women need more resources, women do not need more resources. They need men. The thing that makes women want to have children is a bond with a specific man. And then the maternal drive, as opposed to like the maternal slight interest, engages downstream of the relationship with the man. Men make women reproductive. Specific bonds with specific men make women reproductive. That's it. Okay, I just wanted to point that out because
that's okay.
That logic is leading us into some very bad places.
Okay.
Okay.
Women who are now trapped in a different set of bad circumstances with abusive cohabitating partners instead of a husband who loves them and takes care of them. We're trapped in this two-income trap. We have women who are trying to juggle everything and balance everything and are struggling to do that, and they're reporting.
Women in societies where women are the primary producers still have children. Like Southeast Asia, South Asia, I think Western Africa. There are cultures where women provide the majority of the material goods. Men are providing the protection and usually prestige items, right? The women provide the majority of the material goods necessary for survival. They still have children. So this two-parent, this two-wage household, that's nonsense too. Sorry, it's nonsense. Because married women who are working are still having children at replacement rates. So obsessing over this ideal of the homemaker and the wage earner is actually making things worse too. So, and I just wanted to point that out because I am going to say what I disagree with Rachel as well.
Okay.
Although I will also point out anything that this guy does that I think is underhanded and unethical and despicable.
Yeah.
But anyway, but again, focusing on this idea that women working stops them from reproducing is women in poverty work. Like, women in the lower middle class work. They're still having children. Right? Married women work. They're still having children. It is simply, there are not enough married women. Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
I'm not here to condemn women. Brian's here to condemn me personally, apparently, which is the actual ad hom argument. If he had an actual argument rather than just pointing at me, that would be fine. But if all he's here to do is say, well, but you got divorced because you were in an abusive marriage, that's actually not an argument. It supports my argument that you should be able to get out of abusive marriages, and you were. You were actually able to get out of abusive marriages prior to no fault. No fault means you don't need a reason, and the other party does not have to agree. And that's where I think that we went wrong.
Thank you very much for that rebuttal from Rachel. We're going to... So we're going...
By the way, there's no such thing as no fault divorce. It's just man at fault divorce.
Into the 40-minute Crossfire or open dialogue. I'm going to trust you guys, but if there are interruptions, I do have to jump in and break it into 90-second responses. So, handing it off to you. The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, for somebody that wants to stay home, you're certainly out a lot debating people, so I really don't understand that argument.
Well,
number
are you
one,
aware of the, well, let me address that,
was that
since
10
this
seconds,
is the back and
or
forth.
Can I just finish?
Well, this is the back and forth.
I know, but that was like 10 seconds.
But you already got it wrong. So my children are...
You got everything wrong.
My children are grown.
Wrong.
No, I got everything right.
I know they're grown.
They're
Can I
grown
just
up
finish?
and out of the house.
Can I just finish?
So
Okay.
I've never said that women can't leave the house when their kids have grown up.
See, this is where she's getting in the weeds, right? Okay.
Why?
That she opened it up. Well, because she made the connection. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'd have to reconstruct it, and it's a lot of spaghetti at this point.
Well, I think that he's okay. Let's listen, because he's saying, I don't know why, if you think women should be in the home, I don't know why you're here at this debate. and she's about to say her children are grown, so she doesn't have to look after them anymore. So she can do this. Like, that's when she wrote her book, you know,
Well,
after
okay,
her
maybe
kids
this
were
is
grown
my
and
problem.
everything. Okay.
This is my problem with the more conservative side of this debate. They carry a huge amount of baggage that makes them less agile. Right? The setting up the condition that women should be at home makes them less agile. First of all, that has never been the case throughout human history. Like the 1950s was a mythology created by Hollywood. Women have always worked. It's just that through most of human history, that work was in a more domestic sphere or in a protective envelope created by the men, right? So this is that you're setting a standard that you can't really defend historically, and you can't really defend for the majority of women. Most women are going to have to work, especially in this economy, right? So she's importing a lot of baggage, and not only is the baggage coming from basically Hollywood, the baggage is not something that's easily carried. So it gives this guy an easy in, and it also takes but even more importantly, it takes the essential argument away from where it needs to be, because she's saying this is how people should structure their lives. Now, maybe she isn't saying that's how people should structure their lives. Maybe he's importing that. Maybe she's never said that. I don't know.
She didn't. She doesn't make any prescriptions at all. She
Okay, so
simply says that when she talks about the two-income trap, that's probably the closest thing to a prescription. But I think what it is the two-income trap, as they describe it, is a means by which women might feel like inclined to have fewer children. And that's a problem. No, I know, but I mean, that's what she thinks. I mean, maybe she's just wrong about that. That's fine. But she didn't make any prescriptions at all.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and again,
Brian Shapiro is the one that opened by saying, "Who are you to tell women what to do?" But she never did. She never did that. He is importing that. He is assuming that she's promoting the 50s housewife. And just for context, I've watched Rachel in other debates. She also understands that the 50s was like an anomaly and that it's not real and that women have always worked. She might not bring that up here because the debate's not about that.
Yeah.
But
okay. Fair enough.
She's not delusional in that way.
Probably what she's probably referring to is just feminism creating a certain kind of economic condition, and she's not wrong. But I don't know if she's followed it as deeply as I have. Feminism has created a fatberg of extractors that are destroying the operative layer of society. But anyway, that's esoteric.
No, I get that.
This is underhanded. He's being a dick. This is a dick move.
Yes, but so I think that she feels like she needs to, and this is the back and forth section anyway. So if she doesn't like cut him off when he's wrong right away, he's going to gish gallop and just say a bunch of stuff. And because he already planted that bad seed right at the beginning, he can use that to like make a series of attacks. So she's basically saying, no, you're not going to get away with this. And that's going to like basically prevent anything else from happening, which is what I think she's trying to do. So
women should be allowed to vote?
Do you think women are chained to the kitchen?
I'm asking you a question. Do you think women should be allowed to vote?
I think it would be better if women and many other groups didn't vote. I would categorize women as one of the groups that should not. Yes.
Is there any other demo that shouldn't be allowed to vote, or is it just women?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways that you could limit suffrage that would make everything a lot more fair and a lot more efficient. I think that if you're taking more from the system than you get, so that would be a great way to limit suffrage. You'd have to be a net zero taxpayer. You can't be taking more than you're getting. So if you're getting more in SNAP benefits and welfare
so
than
voting
you're paying,
should be based on how much you pay in taxes, or if you pay taxes?
It should be based on whether you are contributing to the system or not. If you're taking more than you're contributing, no, you shouldn't be having a voice in governance. You should also have to take a civics test proving that you have some rudimentary understanding of how our government works.
A lot of people wouldn't vote for Donald Trump if that was the case. But anyway, so you don't think that women should be allowed to vote? You don't think?
What an absolutely pointless thing to add.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get his jabs in.
Tired.
Yeah, I know.
Would you like me to explain why?
No. Do you know why the birth rate is so low?
No, he doesn't want me to explain why.
Well,
I will anyway.
I find it interesting that you want to take away.
I find it interesting
Yeah, he's pulling a Kevin Logan. I find it very interesting.
Rights of a woman, which is being able to vote. By the way, women are, I think you're aware, bringing children into this world.
Not enough.
Well, yeah. Why? Why is that? What's the number one reason why women aren't bringing children in?
Do you want to know like the actual correlate?
No, I want to know the
Oh, boy.
of the last 2 years, and women have.
I'd be all over this like white on rice.
Yeah.
In front of me right
Okay,
here.
let's hear.
What is the number one reason, Rachel, why women aren't bringing kids into this world in the last 2 years? Do you know the reason for
I
that?
can tell you what the actual data says. The data says that the number one correlate to declining birth rates around the world in every culture, regardless of income or religion, is women's access to higher education and pushing them into
Not
the
true.
workforce.
So according to the Johns
Yes, it
Hopkins
is
School
true.
of Public Health, which have been polled for the last 2 years, they've done it 8 times. The Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, I'll take their word over yours. They say the number one reason why women don't want to bring children into the world is something called the economy, Rachel. Now let's talk a little bit.
Nope.
So now he's
wrong.
making the argument that women aren't getting enough stuff. You see?
Yes.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rachel makes the argument that women being pushed into the workplace where they always were is no, both of them are wrong. He's just more freaking irritating.
yeah.
The reason why, if you look at behavioral and demographic factors, which nobody can lie about, the reason why women are not giving birth is because they are not in relationships with men. Full stop. And probably what's happening with the higher education and workplace is that it comes packaged with feminism and an economic shift towards making women more comfortable, which means that they don't exist within the protective envelope of men. Now, this requires me explaining a lot of the investigation that I've done into human courtship and how men and women signal attraction and respond to each other's signals of attraction. So, and I don't know if you guys want me to go into that. That's going to be a long digression, but full stop. The reason why women aren't having as many children is because they're single. As because the number of single women is increasing, the number of married women is decreasing, and single women don't have children. They have less and less and less children.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas married women continue to have the same amount they've always had. So the one separating factor between women who have children and women who don't have children is that the women who have children actually love a man. Full stop.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So he's bringing up the economy. He did it really sarcastically. So let's see the response to that.
About the economy
What's
real quick.
that?
Hold on. Let's talk a little bit about that. Rachel.
Okay.
Why are people losing their medical coverage? Why are people losing their food stamps? Is it because they're just lazy and they don't want to work?
Okay.
You see, because
we're doing another straw man argument
it's a straw man.
because
Everything's a straw man argument.
I'll explain.
Also,
Yeah.
again, once again, the more comfortable you make women, the less they have to rely on men, the less they get into relationships with men. And it's like women will say, oh, you just want to trap women. It's like, but that's women's choice, right? They don't want a man who doesn't materially benefit or protect them. And there's obvious reasons why. Human women, like, think about our ancestral condition, okay? When a woman is thinking in the ancestral world, okay, considering getting pregnant, right? Probably the hominid doesn't have any conscious thoughts about this. If she just gets pregnant, she dies. Like for human women, pregnancy is a death sentence on their own. A death sentence. Okay? So you're out in the wild, you get pregnant, you're dead. Dead. So you cannot get pregnant just randomly from like the way that other female mammals do. They just come across a male, he gets her pregnant, and she can manage the whole thing by herself. Perfectly fine. Gives birth and is operating at the capacity of a Navy SEAL 5 minutes later. Right? That's the usual female mammal. Human females, not like that at all. You get pregnant, you don't have any help, any support, you're dead. Dead. Okay? So what's going to change a woman from realizing that pregnancy is a death sentence to pregnancy is maybe survivable. A man who has the specific orientation to protecting and providing for her. That's it. That is the only thing that is going to make pregnancy survivable for her. And when we talk about, oh, let's give them welfare, let's give them daycare, let's give them food stamps, the problem is that the thing that makes them reproductive is a relationship with a man they believe is going to protect them. Because outside of it, death. Right? So you can make women more comfortable, but if they don't feel like the man actually is providing something for them, that kind of primitive trip in their brain doesn't trip. And they don't want to have children. Okay? So the necessary stimulus for women to become reproductive is a relationship with a man, and they can feel that he is providing and protecting for them. That is my interpretation from the evolutionary record, the endocrinology, the cognitive modalities, and everything else I've studied. Okay, and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm getting into this. I know we wanted to talk about this guy being an asshole to Rachel, and I'm pulling it into some other Allison world instead.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so I got a Rumble rant from OIC for $25. Thank you, OIC. Really appreciate it. And he says money and put some dancing dog emojis. All right, thank you. Let's continue.
The only people who do have replacement birth rates are the poorest people. So if it was economics, we wouldn't see that the only people having children would be the poorest among us. And historically, everybody has had children during times of
So it's because of poor
worse
people.
poverty.
You're saying the reason why is because poor people can't bring people into the world.
No, I'm saying listen very carefully.
Do you want to know why?
I'm listening.
It's because poor people are dealing with a chronic stress threat, like a chronic survival threat, and they have to rely on each other to survive. Simple as that. And so you're going to be much more likely to see a man, the husband of a poor woman, having to deal with things like crime, with jobs that are physically demanding that she can't do. So they have to rely on each other more. They have to rely on their family more to even get through it, which means that's, based on my study of the endocrinology and everything, that's going to create a stronger bond, or at least a more reproductive one, because I know there's a high degree of divorce among poverty as well. But
yeah,
but again, she's right, but it sort of contradicts the things she said earlier, and he's being a snot.
Art Force gave us a $200 super chow.
Oh, thank
you,
you,
Art Force. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good news, everyone.
And he says it's the economy. It's the economy, right? Which is why poor countries have the lowest birth rates. Oh, yeah. And again, she just said that the poorest people have the most kids even in the first world.
Like if we recognize what is actually happening, is the fact that poor women are more, they understand, they have a much closer relationship, physical relationship, to how their men are protecting them and providing for them. Again, the jobs that are available to poor men are much more physical and arduous, right? So the women have a much closer relationship to how the men are protecting and providing for them in ways that they can't do themselves. That is absolutely true with poorer countries. You know, even if the woman's a market woman who's got her stall and is making the money, she still needs her husband to walk her to and from the market and make sure that they don't get attacked by like a rival tribe or like bandits or actual predators. Right, so it's the relationship between her and the protective envelope of her men is much more immediate. So she's actually getting that stimulus. You know, I am not alone. Pregnancy isn't death, because I got this man who's committed to protecting me not necessarily providing, protecting, right? Maybe she can provide for herself to a degree, and then yeah, reproduction results. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
The poor people are the ones having the babies. So the people who have the
So-
resources are opting out because they think their job is more important, because they want to take vacations,
So-
because they want to pay for a second
So
vehicle
when the people
and a
that
bigger
aren't
mortgage.
poor are polled and they're saying that the reason why they're not having kids is because of the economy,
It's
are they
because they are
lying?
prioritizing a higher material standard of living, yes.
So what has changed then in the last...
Materialism.
So
Atheism
what
and
is-
materialism.
Okay, so you think it's
Yeah.
atheism?
It's
You think it's
atheism and
because they don't
materialism.
believe in God, and
It's
that's the
because
reason why
they're
they're not having children?
prioritizing.
How long is this?
Right.
I'm gonna move ahead to another time code.
I mean,
It's
I
about
would-
an
I would- I
hour
would simply
and
say-
a half. So
I'd simply say it's because women are not getting married, because women don't have a direct experience of men's protective envelope, which will make them feel like it's safe to get pregnant.
mhm.
And it's more, that sounds really like mechanistic, but it is the source of that sense of falling in love. It's probably why
Yeah.
chivalrous behaviors, because it's sort of like it's a ritualized man is protecting you. And so that sort of explains why that came about. The problem is that women who are deadbeats, single women, want to have that simulated experience of protection and provision without actually attaching to any specific man, which is sickening. They don't deserve it. Thank you, whatever podcast, for stripping that attitude of entitlement away from women who do not deserve it. Okay?
Yep.
But because it is a reciprocal thing. And this is another thing that comes from evolution. Men wouldn't be protecting and providing for women if women didn't reciprocate with a specific attachment to a specific man. So when you take that away, men have no obligation and they won't have any motivation to continue to provide for a bunch of deadbeat women who just want food calls, food dates, or whatever they call them. They want men to give them resources for giving nothing back. And not even a generalized I like men or I care about men. These women are overtly misandrous. So they're just nasty. And on every capacity, on every level, and they still expect men to provide resources to them in the way that men should only do when the woman has demonstrated loyalty. Okay, so
Yeah.
but again, that's what I would say. It's like this is incidental. It's not materialism, it's not atheism. I mean, I think that those things are connected, but it is the destruction of the relationship between men and women. It's feminism poisoning all of this. Because in the feminist analysis, the protective envelope that men provide for women, what does that become? It becomes patriarchal control. So feminists go right to the source of that kind of reproductive lock between men and women. When a woman realizes, okay, yes, pregnancy is survivable because he's protecting me, they go right there and they poison it, right at the source. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna play more. This is another time code.
He's
For
so
advice.
handsome, I
he's so
can't help
smiling.
it.
I know. By the way, this is, I want
It's
to go
rough
there.
looking
I won't
this
even go
way.
there.
I want to take a break and look this
Yeah.
way.
I will say this,
Now, if you
since
can
she
give
wants
me
to
a-
get,
if you can give me
since
an
she wants to get
argument.
personal with me because she's been doing
He
that.
doesn't want to have to actually give an argument. All he just did, by
An
the way,
argument, you're,
was restate
you're,
the position.
you're insulting
I
my
don't
physical
think-
appearance.
He said, I don't
You've
think
called
they
people
should
retarded
because I
for not
don't
agreeing
think
with
they
you.
should.
And,
You have
and
an
you're
argument?
talking to me about forming.
Insulting your
called
physical appearance.
No, she said that she thinks that this behavior is retarded. These ideas are retarded. Not that
When did
people
he
are retarded.
insult?
But
Did she insult his? You know what,
no,
sir?
I could go back a
pig
bit if you
talk.
want.
That's pig talk for an aggro raticon.
Yeah, I
Rat
could jump
leprechaun.
back a bit to where they talked a little bit about the. Let me see if I can find it. The draft, because she talks about the draft and how it's just men that are drafted.
You know what?
So
Don't
maybe I
go
can go.
back.
All right,
I feel
all right.
like
Let's
this
just
is-
play it from
I
here.
feel-
Yes, you're very
And now you're
outraged.
talking to us
You're
about
very
how
offended.
handsome your husband is.
He is.
You couldn't be more insecure.
He is so
What?
So the other
Look at him,
day,
he's so cute.
when we had
She's just like, she capes for him, you know, and I don't know why it annoys Brian so much. Like that women are not supposed to like vocally say that they love their husband and they find him attractive and all that. Isn't that
Well, yeah,
strange? Wouldn't we
it
think
is
that's
strange.
normal? Anyway.
our little, kind of funny, we had our little Twitter spat. She spent all day trying to convince strangers how hot her husband was. Little strange. Little
Look
strange.
at him. Yeah.
Little strange. Listen, I think if you're
Why is that strange? Okay, I mean,
you should think
What?
it's a personal preference. Like I probably wouldn't talk about
Sure.
my husband.
I think that there's something going on though. Like obviously you don't have to do
Well,
that,
Well,
but I
what's
think
happening?
that she's trying to expose how
Yeah.
much it makes these people angry that there's a woman
Yes.
who says I love this man, and I'm happy to say
Displaying-
it, to display that, yes, openly and out in public, right? And if,
displaying
oh, that's
loyalty.
weird. It's like that's absolutely the opposite of weird.
Mhm.
So, but
Yeah, because
yeah,
they want
sorry, go ahead.
don't want men to demand specific loyalty from women before they offer up their resources to the
Mhm.
state. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Like that's no go there.
What if she
Right?
was up there basically saying that she thinks the state is sexy, and like really attractive because it takes care of her? Would that be also weird?
Yeah. I would find it weird.
I love my government and welfare check. Oh, woo! Let's clap for the SNAP benefits.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have done that though.
Yes, they have. That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
your husband is hot. If you're married to a woman, you should think your wife is hot. I just think it's a little weird trying to explain to thousands of complete strangers, trying to convince them that your husband is hot. I don't know, it's a little weird.
Now, rather than
It's a little
you-
strange, that's
now,
all. It's a little
rather
weird.
than you
You notice the check and jive there?
Hmm.
Trying to convince other people? No, expressing the fact that she finds her husband attractive. It's not trying to convince anybody of anything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can just like ignore it and move on, but he can't really do that, can he?
Tell me why
I've
women
told
shouldn't.
you
No, you just
over-
restated the position.
No, I've
That's all
told you.
did.
You're
said
not, Rachel,
they
you're not
shouldn't
listening.
Because they shouldn't.
Rachel, you're not listening.
I'm listening. You're not thinking.
You're right. No, I'm thinking
No.
you're not listening, okay?
Simply restating
So-
the position is
So,
not an argument.
Rachel, I'm not stating the
Yeah,
position
you did.
over.
You
I'm
said,
giving you
"I
my
don't think that-"
opinion
Okay,
on
try
what we are
again.
discussing.
Try
okay?
again.
I've already tried. You're not.
oh my fucking God.
There is no question that there are sacrifices that men have to make that women don't have to make, like
Okay.
in the draft.
Thank
I
you for
agree with
conceding the
totally.
point.
However, there are sacrifices that women have to
Like
make.
what?
That
No, they don't have to.
children and
But
being
that's-
pregnant and having
but
kids.
that's
I never said they. I
voluntary.
never.
Yeah, they're the women have to have kids. No, she's like, no, that's not that's first of all, I guess you have to ask if it's actually a sacrifice if they want children. But obviously you are choosing to do something that's going to make your life different, harder in some ways. But Rachel was saying it's not like the draft. And he's saying, oh no, this is absolutely the mirror of that. But Rachel's like, but the difference is the draft is mandatory. Pregnancy is voluntary. These are very different, right? So anyway, yeah, just your typical male feminist talking over a woman. Yeah.
Okay.
They had
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Actually, I think I might have forgotten because Quran Strong was asking, does Brian have a tiny hat under his gray hat?
No, he's
Green
not.
hat.
He's not related to Ben Shapiro. His name just happens to be the same.
No,
I don't
or a
know.
green hat
He's
with
a
a four-leaf
he's a
clover.
leprechaun, dude. You gotta
He's
catch him to get his pot of gold. That's all I
An
know.
aggro leprechaun.
Yeah, an angry leprechaun. Angry.
Mm.
I
Very
like
angry.
the one from the horror movie.
Rabid leprechaun.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms. All right. Anyway.
Okay.
to do
That's
it.
a category error.
I never said they had to do it.
Let me help this man with another logical fallacy. It's called a category error. We are talking about an involuntary thing, which people are compelled by the government to do, versus a completely voluntary
well, we're going to agree to
thing that
disagree.
nobody even dares
We're going to agree
tell
to disagree on
women
that.
to
Do you think women are bad in the government? Do you think they're bad representing in government?
You know what else I would add to that? Not only do people not tell women to do this, they tell men to do the equivalent. Okay? They force men to offer resources for children that those men didn't necessarily choose to have. Right?
Yes.
So there is an absolute equivalence here. So there's when they say, well, women have to give birth, well, men have to pay for those children and they are obligated. Even if they're raped, obligated to pay for those children. They can't get out of that obligation. So once again, men are forced to do something that women get to choose to do. And for those people who say, well, childbirth is dangerous, so is 18 years of labor. And when men are assigned to provide 18 years of labor to raise a child, they are less likely to try to get out of doing it than women. So there is that you don't even need to bring up the draft. Men are assigned to do 18 years of labor for any child that they produce. And the only way they get out of it is if they just don't have the money, but they still end up going to jail if they don't. Women, when they are assigned the same situation, 18 years of labor for a child that they most likely actually absolutely agreed to have, they just default. And the state doesn't see fit to put them in jail at the same rate. So we don't even have to talk about conscription. That's an extra. And women don't have to give birth. And when they decide to, a man is then obligated to 18 years of labor based on her choice. Right there. That is an equivalence. At the it actually isn't even an equivalence because he didn't choose it. Even if he's raped, he's obligated to it. And then on top of that, men have to go and serve in war. So there is absolutely no equivalence. There's no situation where women are forced into a damn thing in order to protect and provide for society.
Yep.
Nothing. Maybe jury duty.
No duties. Well, maybe
No
jury
duty.
duty.
Yeah.
No duties. Okay.
I don't think women should be in politics, no.
You
But
don't.
you still haven't given me an argument
Well,
for,
I
for
mean,
why.
we can beat a dead horse, but I'd like to move on to another topic. Do you
I'm
think,
sure you would,
do you
because
think
you
women
had-
are
you
bad?
just- I
No,
just
because
won
we
that
only. How
point.
much time do we have left in this debate? There's a lot of other things that we should be discussing. Yeah, exactly. 10 minutes more. You think women are bad in government, right? You don't think they should be in government. You don't think
Right.
they should be politicians, right?
Yes,
Why
correct.
is that? Why do you think that way?
Because the purpose of government is for the protection of people and property, and women
Good.
are not able to accomplish that. Women, there's a
Yep.
reason, by the way, that
Yep.
historically women couldn't own property. It's because they can't defend it. So as a
Yep.
woman, if I own
Well,
a
the only
home
problem is that
in
women could.
1945, how am I going to protect it
Yep.
from bandits, from marauders?
What?
Yeah, but women did. Like what women did own property in 1845. They did own property in 1200. They did own property in 900. They did own property during the Roman Empire. In fact, Roman property laws were very liberal compared to like Salic laws. So women did own property in the past. Like I don't know why she's framing it this way. But yes, she has a point that the protection of people's property rights is a male obligation, right? And that obligation granted men, fulfilling that obligation granted men influence in political discussions. And that was when politics was mostly how do we defend this land, right? So, I mean, she's right on that score. It's just that women, even though men were primarily responsible for defending the land, they still respected women's ownership of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which really does, speak to the fact that women were not oppressed.
Right.
But anyway,
Okay.
I'm just correcting the record there. But
Yeah. Fair enough. You might know more about Rome than Rachel does.
To believe in what they believe in. Everybody has the right. You can be a Christian, you can be an atheist, to call people retarded because they don't believe in the religion that you
Oh,
believe in,
how
or they
dare
don't
me.
believe
I
in
know,
God
I know. Oh,
is
how
so
dare
beyond
I.
absurd and bigoted in
It's
nature.
retarded?
It's ridiculous.
Is that what you're saying?
It's ridiculous. No, I think you are. So what I was going to say,
where's your argument? Do you have an argument?
what I was going to say, just be quiet. Make Andrew a sandwich and
Wow.
be quiet. So
That's pretty misogynistic.
20 million and
Told him to make a sandwich. That's like he does that a few times in the debate. He tells Rachel to make a sandwich. This is like usually when the mask slips, right? Let me go to 22 minutes. I think he does it again. I just want to show that.
in her 30s. What does she do there? What happens if a woman is a single woman trying to raise children? What is she supposed to do to raise those children? You know, the people who you support are against unemployment benefits, they're against maternity leave, and they're basically against every government program that would help that mother raise that child. These are the people that you support. So while you can call people retarded for simply not agreeing with your religious beliefs, you're mocking me for making arguments, and yet you want to insult everybody that disagrees with you. Let me be very clear. I
Okay,
support, wait, hold on, 10 seconds.
At some
10
point,
seconds.
I have to be able
Okay,
to
at some point you
respond.
will. Finish the sandwich. So the point that I was
Wait, do I have this one?
Give me a thank you. Give me a thank you for feminists for getting your right to vote. Otherwise, stop voting and go make me a ham sandwich.
The sandwich. It's a great argument, the sandwich argument. All right,
The
let me
feminists change, but the sandwich argument, it stays
yes,
the same.
the sandwich
never-
argument is how it
Never
gets.
changes. The
Yep.
sandwich argument never changes.
Yep. All right. So this, yeah, be quiet and make me a sandwich. Finish your sandwich, and I think it comes up one more time at the end. I think it's the gold. It's the gold because what happens with a male feminist is what they do. They eventually crash out, and they just attack the woman for stepping out of line. So
Need men, and we rely on them to protect persons and property.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Therefore, that's the task of
Let's
men,
talk
not
about
of women.
protecting. Let's talk about COVID for a moment. Female leaders.
look at his face. Holy shit, he wants to kill her. Because he's like, let's talk about COVID. And she chuckles. Like, this is like, really? Are we going to bring this up as some example of women being better protectors? I think Allison is distracted talking to either the chat or her punished Claude. Allison, are you there?
Yeah. I was actually, what was I doing? I think I was helping somebody in the Discord. By the way, if you guys want to join our Discord, badgernation.online, you get access to what is effectively my blog, where I talk at length about all of these ideas that I have. That's badgernation.online, and you can get in there and read them and get a bit more information about where I'm coming from. My
So,
God, that
you
guy
missed it,
looks
but
like
did you catch? I know he wants to murder her like on stage. Did you miss what made him so mad? Did you miss that? I'm gonna go back a little bit if you missed it. Did you miss it?
It's interesting that he can just turn off that custodialness that men have.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
All right, let's
gone.
see where it came from. I'm gonna do it again.
Because men are the only people who can defend the borders, who can enforce the law. We've seen what happens when you try to put female law enforcement officers on the streets and on the border. It doesn't work
Yeah.
out very well. We need
And on their backs,
rely on
let's
them.
face it.
Yeah.
When you put female
Mhm.
police officers on their backs, we see what happens.
Yeah. Entire precincts suffer the consequences. And okay. Anyway.
Protect persons and property.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Therefore, that's the task of
Let's
men,
talk
not
about
of women.
protecting. Let's talk about COVID for a moment. Female leaders.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Whoa.
Oh my God. Dude.
That- Jesus Christ. It's like he's getting the shiv out.
I mean, look at how red he is turning. Holy crap. I know he's ginger and that's, it comes easy, but whoo, man. Okay.
Good Lord. Don't. Okay, if you're in a relationship with this guy,
He's still holding that face. Holy crap, dude. That
Yeah.
guy is terrifying. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
if you're like a you know, smaller than a leprechaun.
yeah, you're a leprechaunette. I'd be careful. Like, holy shit, if you're in a relationship with that dude, don't disagree with him. And don't attempt to leave. And don't touch his pot of gold.
If looks could kill. Dude. Okay, Richard Bier gives us $5 and says, broken down to the most granular level, everyone is required to work in order to survive. However, the bachelor pad meme would be that the unpaired and uncommitted man would be comfortable with bare minimum employment and coming home to the apartment with just the television set, game console, and the futon, and finding satisfaction with that arrangement. Brian telling Rachel to make him a sandwich does sound like he stole it from Jank saying the same thing to Karen. Yeah, I played that already.
Give me a thank you. Give me a thank you for feminists for getting your right to vote. Otherwise, stop voting and go make me a ham sandwich.
The arguments have not improved. They have basically not changed at all. When women basically just don't toe the line or don't know their place, as it were, in the feminist hierarchy, in the feminist society structure, the setup. And yes, they get told to make sandwiches. I could go for a sandwich. Thank you for that, Richard Bier. Okay. So, all right, let's, Allison, you ready? I'm going to play more of this clip.
Do it.
All right.
Okay, sure. Tell me how
Why are
this
you
is gonna-
laughing at
'cause
COVID? Millions of people died of
It
COVID.
had better tie back to feminism.
Why are you
Because
laughing?
we're debating feminism, and
You think
you're bringing
COVID's
up.
funny?
I think it has nothing to do with feminism.
Okay, well, why don't you shut up and let me finish and make him a sandwich again and
Are
let
you
me
mad?
finish.
Are you
No,
getting a
you're
little
just
emotional?
respect. I'm trying to make a point. I let you talk. Be quiet. Let me talk. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. You said
turning
women.
red.
You said women shouldn't.
I'm sorry. This guy is the male counterpoint to the thoughts that go on the whatever podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. Good Lord. And honestly, he feels more dangerous. Like I think the worst thing that those thoughts are gonna do is
Dude, look at the
have-
vein on his neck, Allison. Do you see the vein on his neck? It's like
just-
popping out. Do you see?
Oh my fucking God, yes.
Do you see that? It's like,
Oh my God.
dude. So this
Like,
guy,
but think about it. Like the thoughts on the whatever podcast, what are they gonna do? Really? Have sex
well,
with
they
their
might like
host?
walk off. Like I think, like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
worst thing they usually they storm off. Yeah, or they start
Yeah,
crying
exactly.
and they ask to leave. I've seen
Ugh.
that.
That's
Yeah.
this dude, this guy, he is he's throwing off a lot of red flags.
Yeah, they're in his face. He is a red flag.
You know,
Can I get some red flags in the chat, guys, if
He's-
you think this is a red flag?
he's gingering too close to the sun.
He is the sun. No, he would just die, actually. I think this is why he has to remain indoors. I know it's hard to be a redhead in July, so
It's hard to be a redhead and try to perform having a soul in public. Okay. Let's
All right. Let's keep going.
In government positions.
Yes, correct.
I am telling you, during COVID, female leaders were far more successful than men in dealing with COVID. Globally, women only held 7% of leadership positions. 4 of the top 10 countries that were run by women, and in this study, the death rates, 13 countries led by men, 8 led by women, the male per capita, 214 deaths per million that were led by men. Led by women, 36 people per million. Look, you could look up that stat. Now, why? You could say maybe it was ego.
Sanitation?
You could say maybe it was bad policy. You could say maybe it wasn't listening to experts. Whatever the case may be, the women that were in power in these countries led to 36 people dying per million. By the men, 214 deaths per million. So if your premise is that men should be in power in these positions and women shouldn't, then what is your explanation there? Because if women weren't in power, more people would have died.
Do you believe in freedom and liberty?
I think I've made that pretty clear.
Okay, well, the reason for those statistics is that women were notoriously tyrannical, like the Prime Minister of New Zealand locked down New Zealand tighter than a prison camp. And the fastest way to get rid of liberty and freedom is to put women in charge of the government, because they overwhelmingly bring in tyrannical welfare states.
I just gave you the stats of how they save lives.
Yes, by locking.
Yes, women. Yeah, and essentially what he's saying is that women take away people's right to drive cars, and accidents are zero.
Yeah, they don't die though, right? Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
die, though.
They don't die because they're locked up in their house. He did them a favor.
Okay,
you could have died.
Sorry, that's not you. Sorry, I'm talking to my dog.
But also, women should be able to like drive their ships over the rocks and dash themselves because they might make it. But it's also good that we locked them up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. You shouldn't put out a lighthouse to prevent women from dashing their ships on the rocks, but you should lock people down to prevent them from getting a flu.
Yes.
Are we allowed to say that now?
Yes, we've been allowed to say that for a long time. But yes.
Okay.
Protect them from the sniffles. Lock it down forever. Oh, she wants to become a single mom and like go out with lots of, potentially unvetted men, and who knows what's going to happen? She might dash on the rocks. It's okay. Let her have her freedom.
Syphilis? That's okay. Sniffles, lock that shit down.
Yeah, exactly. OIC gives us $1 in Rumble and says male feminist Hulk mode. Yeah. Okay. There could be a little bit more of this, but I think she basically made her point. So let me find another time code. I'm going to go to the closing. Let's go to closing arguments. How about that? Let's go to the closing arguments. So I'm just going to look up the shit, I spelled the word wrong. I'm looking up the there we go. 12012. All right. I think it's like right. This is the. Is it after the Q&A? I don't know. I think it's before. Let me see. I'll go right here. No, these are like questions from the audience. Maybe it's here. Oh, shit.
This modern feminism advance.
Why is there no audio or visual?
Go into private spaces for women, which can lead to increased risk of.
Where's the why is there no video? That's weird. Let me refresh the page. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? I think it was the
tyrannical, like the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
I think it's this is like a weird video because it's actually a somebody recorded it off of something. So Q&As, yeah, it was like over here somewhere. I thought the closing argument, maybe they're later. I'm sorry. Hold on, guys. I gotta find it. Okay. 1, 3. Okay, thank you, James. Let's go 123:41. So I'm trying to wrap this up. I don't want this to take too long.
When I was
yeah, closing arguments. This is like but basically the end here. So is that okay, Allison?
And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's fine.
Okay.
Time sections. I've got the timer set for you, and Brian.
you want me to go first again?
Yes. In each case, you'll be going first. The floor is all yours, Brian.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I do a lot of shows that are way far to the right. I'm happy to do them, regardless of whether people agree or disagree with me. But I'm going to talk about something now very serious, and it's an emotional thing. And when I was doing debate prep for this debate, I learned of a horrible story that I am very sad to hear. That you had lost your 10-year-old son in a car accident, and my condolences to your family. It's awful. And Unfortunately, we have something like that in common, Rachel, and I am truly.
Okay, I'm going to pause this here. So I don't know if you guys know, but one of Rachel's children died in a car accident. And I think he was like 10 years old. It was a boy. So, but like it's not something they bring up, like the Wilsons necessarily bring up. But he is bringing this up. And I think this is another attack that's coming using her dead child. So yeah, this is probably the scummiest thing that he does.
What the?
I wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
But then he does it in this way, was like, it sounds like he's coming from this place of caring. Like that's probably got something to do with your relational web matrix. But what?
I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. That's a weird framing. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. Who knows?
All right, let's keep going.
When I was 12 years old, my whole family got into a very serious car accident. I lost my grandmother. It's the reason why my sister passed away a few years ago, because of her injuries. And I learned at a very young age how precious life is. What does this have to do with feminism? Life is really short. And again, I say again, how sorry I am that your family had to go through that. It's horrible. And the reason why I talk about how short life is, I don't want to tell you guys what to do. I don't want to tell you guys that you can't vote because you're poor. I don't want to tell you guys that you can't be in the workplace. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer,
why did
home mom with kids,
she didn't say that though?
I don't want to tell you what to do. When I was 14 years old, my dad introduced me to two radio hosts, Howard Stern and Don Imus. I didn't really like Don Imus very much. I said, Dad, I want to be like that. I want to be on the radio one day. And my family supported me. And I had to work really fucking hard, pardon my French, to get to where I am, to be able to even do something like this, to be able to go on Pierce Morgan, to be able to do those things. And I'm very humbled by that. But it wasn't because I'm a guy. It wasn't because I'm a male. It's because I worked my ass off, which I'm still doing every day. And if a woman listens to their dad growing up and they want to be a radio host, or they want to be a doctor or a nurse, or maybe they're poor, but they're still involved in politics and they want to vote, I say, do what makes you happy. Live your life. Don't listen to somebody, no matter what religion they are or who they are, tell you what to do with your life. I'm doing what I'm doing now because I worked hard. It has nothing to do with my gender or because I'm a woman. We all have tragedies in life, and I'm sorry for yours. 30 seconds. And I wish we didn't have that in common, because it's awful. Don't let other people tell you what to do. I know there's a lot of people in this crowd that probably disagree with a lot of what I said today. And listen, that's okay. We have the freedom to agree or disagree with people. That's what makes this country great. But we're all human beings. I'm not perfect. I make plenty of mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and I've probably said things in my life that I regret, but I own it. And so thank you all for being here. 5 seconds. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I appreciate it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love having good debates, and I appreciate all you guys being here. Thank you very much.
Hey, could you
What was
send
that?
me the
What was that about? What? Email?
Yeah, just send me the email, or not the email, the link to this.
This video?
Yeah, I don't even know. I guess he was trying to do an emotional appeal, trying to create a connection to her, to try to convince her to allow people to live their life.
Yeah, it's again nothing that she was ever.
Yeah, send me the link to this video.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it right now.
Oh, if only you were a good person, Rachel, you wouldn't want everybody to, I don't know, live in a cage.
It's very like, I don't know, it gives me the ick to put it mildly, to basically be like, let me invoke a personal story. It's almost like making it impossible to criticize him, or there's an attempt to. Like, I just shared a piece of myself with you.
If you cared about your dead son, that's a new argument. If you cared about your dead son, you would agree with me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? Okay, I got a super chat from Richard. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all I had to say. That's a little
okay. Yeah, it's scummy. Richard Beer gives us $5 and says something unrelated. Oh, thanks. That's exactly what we need right now. I have been hearing ads from Waymo about how their self-driving cars leading to a reduction or elimination of traffic violence. The thing that I have noticed is that as cars get smarter, the people inside them seem to get dumber. I would not use a Waymo. I hope those things do not become normal. Okay. All right, let's get, here's another one. LMAO, male feminist, gives us $5 and says, I remember we once reviewed a Jubilee video about male feminists arguing with male anti-feminists. I recall Allison observed that the male feminists had not integrated their aggression. I was not sure I understood that statement at the time, but I think I recently started seeing what she meant. I started noticing that male feminists use their aggression in a destructive manner, such as making poor arguments with logical fallacies that make it difficult to build social understanding. Competence hierarchies cannot be built on these lies.
No, and they
Okay.
also apparently channel their aggression into looking like they're about to jump over the podium and kill and throttle this woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't feel very, very modulated. And if he hasn't, yeah, that's a lot of anger he just swallowed there. A lot of anger at women disagreeing with him that he just put somewhere. Yeah, I personally wouldn't want to be wherever he put that or around him when it comes out.
No.
No, not at all. But yeah, that's what I mean by it. They don't like that the anger at Rachel Wilson, you saw that at Rachel Wilson not agreeing with him.
Yeah, it comes up multiple times. Yeah.
That anger went somewhere. Well, he swallowed it for this final epilogue. Someday that anger is going to come out. And you don't want to be around when it does. That's what I mean by they don't integrate it. Like the guy who's a men's rights activist and a woman does something. Well, usually like a men's rights activist isn't going to respond to Rachel Wilson being like logical. They probably appreciate it. The Whatever podcast, like the guys on the Whatever podcast, watch them. They're dealing with these aggravating thoughts, right? And these are annoying women who are overtly hateful often, incoherent, and have arrogant, pompous, self-righteous, egotistical women, very unpleasant women. And I look at those guys. They don't have Brian's leprechaun's volcanic anger on their face. You see what I'm saying, Brian? Yeah, they're watching these women and they know that they're full of shit, but they're not angry about it. Right? They're just like this woman is full of shit. It's actually sort of funny. They're not expressing anger like this man is expressing anger. That's the big difference. They're expressing maybe contempt for these women's stupidity, but not anger or this kind of fury. Maybe not even contempt, just like they're just pointing it out. And they're treating them a little bit more like they would treat a man who is on the other side of the table. This guy is furious, like murderously angry at this woman who's disagreeing with him. Now, you look at that and you tell me that the Whatever podcast hates women more.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this man, how he's responding to a woman who has the audacity of disagreeing with him. Look at the Whatever podcast men dealing with women who are not only disagreeing with them, but disagreeing with them in the most aggravating way possible. Like they couldn't be more aggravating. And they're just sitting there like shaking their head and being like, what? Okay, what? That is the difference. And you can't tell me that those men hate women more than Andrew, or sorry, not Andrew, Brian here, Leprechaun here, hates women. And that's what he really feels about women who do not agree with him. Murderous fury. Like they shouldn't exist. They shouldn't be allowed to exist. Whatever podcast is just like annoyance, like just, oh, you and your stupid thoughts. You know, there's a completely different register here. You know, that's something I pick up on. It's why I knew Deadpool was bad news.
Yep.
And this guy's bad news. And that anger that he had, it went somewhere. And you don't want to be anywhere near it when it comes out again, because it's pressurized now. And he's put all of the times that women have disagreed with him, all of the times that women have failed to uphold what he thinks women should be, all of that into that little lava dome inside him. And someday some woman's going to do something wrong. Bam! Yeah, don't want to be around that. I'd rather be around the Whatever podcast guys, because they've processed it.
100%. Yeah.
They've processed it. It's surface level. They're not letting it get to them on that level. And it's because the Whatever podcast guys don't see women as, this is what's happening. They don't see women as narcissistic supply. Like, women are what supports your ego, or women are what deflates your ego. This is how this man sees women. That's why he gets so angry when Rachel is not supporting his ego. The Whatever podcasts are actually more in a register of recognizing that women are people, and people say stupid things, and you meet them at their energy, right? So they're looking at those women, and they're judging them by the things that they say and the things that they do. That is a man judging a person. This Brian the Leprechaun is looking at Rachel, and he is judging her based on how well she supports his ego. And when she fails to support it, you see the rage. And then at the end of all of that, because he can't jump over the podium and just slash her throat in Minecraft, he just sublimates it and puts it somewhere. And it's like, you watch this process, like, I'm a woman, I watch this process. I don't want to be next to a guy like that. Like, I know he's apparently small, like a leprechaun.
Well, I don't know.
Still.
I don't know if he's small. I don't know that.
Yeah, but you don't want to, like, if you're a woman, you're always dealing with the strength differential. You don't want to be around guys like that. And women don't even, here's the funny thing is, I can pick up on that, but most women don't. For some reason, they think this man is saying the right things, and that means he's safe. And they're not noticing how he's responding to a woman who disagrees with him. And the fact that he displayed no custodial behavior. And then he went into this emotional display at the end, and didn't even consider the fact that bringing up her dead son is, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And then he does this emotional display. And you know that narcissists and sociopaths can do emotional displays on cue. He does this emotional display. So you can't be like, what that's scuzzy, because he's like presenting this authentic feeling of tragedy. So now you can't call him out. It's like I said a while back, Frerin, the elf, and they have in that Frerin's world, they have demons that call out for their mothers when humans are trying to kill them. And then we ask the demons why they do that. They say, because it stops you from killing us. They don't actually have any attachment to these emotions. Because if he did, he'd know that bringing up her dead son, why would you do that, sir? Like, if he had a custodial instinct in his body, he would avoid doing that because it's hurtful. But instead, he deployed it, created this emotional display so he can't be called out for it, and then delivered his payload of, you'd agree with me if you cared about your fucking son. And then the thing that she's supposed to agree with too is like a whole bunch of confusing, let women dash themselves on the rocks, but make sure that they don't get the sniffles. You know, like, I don't know. It's what an unpleasant human.
Yes. OIC gave us $1 and said on Rumble and said he needs sandwich miners. Apparently. Thanks for that. Well, I mean, that's basically it. Unless you want to hear.
Do you not have anything you want?
No, no, I think that's no. I
What
think
did you
that's
say?
good.
What
Well, I was
additionally
gonna
could we
say
do?
unless you want to hear Rachel's like closing arguments. I mean,
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
all right.
We could go over to Rachel for her 3-minute closing as well. The floor is yours, Rachel.
Okay, so this was very disappointing. We had no arguments from Brian whatsoever for why we should believe that feminism has been beneficial for women and children. He wasn't able to provide any data, any sort of measurement whatsoever to show that, hey, before feminism, this was what happened, and after feminism, this is what we got. We didn't get any of that. What we got was a whole bunch of logical fallacies and a person who doesn't understand what an argument is or how to debate. I'm going to list them off quickly, but join in the comments on the live stream if you caught more of these than I did. These were just some of the fallacies that we witnessed tonight from Brian. Non sequitur, argument from incredulity, straw man, ad hominem, category error, tu quoque fallacy, appeal to authority, argument ad populum. And on top of all that, we got moral outrage, we got appeals to your virtue and your emotions, and what we got from Brian ultimately was the best argument against feminism, because what feminism produces is emotionally incontinent, weak men who can't control themselves, who have violent outbursts, will insult you, will be angry and combative, and then try at the end of the debate to bring up your dead child and not even let you get through a debate in a professional manner addressing the topic at hand without crying and bringing up your dead son, who you probably don't want to be thinking about in the closing of a professional debate that you're trying to get through. So when he says, do what you want, man, follow how you feel. Life's short. Do what you feel like, just follow what you want. Follow your emotions. I would say no, don't do that. Find a strong, virtuous man in your life who knows how to hold boundaries and protect you, who can control his emotions, who can be the force of strength and stability that families need that we don't have anymore. Don't be a male feminist like this. Don't be this emotionally incontinent, just going all over on a tangent, unable to control your thoughts, unable to control your emotions, just spew
Rachel, whoa.
emotional appeals to people in the middle of a professional debate, bringing up dead children, bringing up your abusive ex-husband. Be the kind of person who can actually handle getting up here and having an argument, making an argument, sticking to the topic, controlling yourself. And the fact that I, a housewife from the Midwest with no college degrees, no professional training, am better able than him to do that, just shows you this is the kind of men that feminism has produced, and this is why society is all messed up.
Okay, that was it.
Okay, that is absolutely 100% honest. I would get a gun. I would sleep with a gun under your pillow, Rachel. Yeah. In Minecraft, of course.
He got cooked. He got fucking effeminized. He got like, woo. But I don't disagree. I don't disagree. So
and I want people to look at this. Like, look at how he looked throughout this debate. And she is perfectly reasonable, right? And she's saying intelligent things. She didn't do ad hominems until he started. And look at what the energy he's giving her. Murderous fury. And then go look at the whatever podcast and the shit that they have to deal with. And the truth is that them just not even, I don't even know if it's aggressive what they're doing, but just concise and explicit. You go look at that and tell me which of these men hate women. Right? Hate a woman as a person rather than as narcissistic supply. Okay, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. No matter whatever weird crap the whatever podcast guys talk about their relationships or whatever else, just look at how they act with women who are being ridiculous versus how that Brian the leprechaun acts with Rachel, who is being reasonable and just trying to be professional. And it's right there. That's right there. You cannot hide that.
Yep.
All right.
All right. I think that's it.
Okay, well, I did want to give you guys an analysis through the cognitive modalities, but I'm still once again the technical difficulties are screwing me up.
Well, you could post it in the Discord and people can read it. That would give them
Oh, yeah,
a
that's
reason to go
right.
join the Discord.
All right, yeah, that's excellent. You know what? That's a brilliant idea. Okay, if you want to see my extended analysis of this discussion using my cognitive modalities framework, badgernation.online. And then you can go and you can
It's
pop
free.
in and take a look. Yeah, it's free. Although if you want to comment on that in my thread, you're going to have to get a subscription. If you want to ask questions, I've learned my lesson. Sorry, guys. Like I've learned my lesson on so if you want to actually have the conversation in that channel, then get a subscription at feedthebadger.com/subscribe. But anyway, if you want to just access and read it, go ahead. Come in, badgernation.online. It'll be great to see you.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
You want to do the last things and then we'll.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any thank yous to give. Wow, that was aside from like the just object lessons in the difference, and he says he's not feminist, he's feminine. Well, he certainly holds women to the standard of feminism. Or not,
Yeah.
is it standard?
Yeah, nobody who saying you're not feminist doesn't mean anything. I look at what you do. It's like you said, I'm not looking, like men don't look at what other people say they are. They look at what they do and then they say, okay, you're doing this. He's obviously decided to take the position that in the affirmative that feminism is good and without feminism women can't work or go to debates or speak in public or leave their house or whatever it is. So he's obviously like taking that position. He believes it. So that makes him a feminist as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what you call yourself.
Yeah. Well, like I said, his ego is definitely dependent on women playing feminism.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise he wouldn't be getting this infuriated over it. And again, it's just a woman disagreeing with him.
Yep.
Okay. All right. It's not even directed at what like the actual things she's saying. Like he isn't reading things off and saying, "Oh, this is horrible," and I can't stand like a Alex Jones kind of thing. He's angry at her. It's a different kind of anger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I don't
for sure.
think Alex Jones directs his anger at specific people. He directs it at like things.
The globalists.
Yeah, the globalists. Obviously. The globalists.
The globalist cabal for sure. And I'm,
yeah, for sure.
But not
but not like this.
No, not like this.
Not at an actual human being. All right. Anyway, so once again, if you want to send us a message at any time when the show is over, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Let me just double check here to see if we got anything that we need to address. Just give me a moment. Oh, wait, we do, I think. We got one from Richard. I believe we read that. And one from, I think we got that one too. Let me just double check to make sure we did, because sometimes you guys sneak things through unexpectedly. Oh yeah, okay, that was the one with the integrated regression. All right, so a couple of things in the chat. Anna Cherry is doing her own thing. She's in her own Discord on her own channel. So that's what's happened to her.
There's no hard feelings, just different.
No hard feelings.
Just different things. She's just doing different things.
Yeah, just doing different things. And Richard is asking about the proper attire to appear on the Whatever podcast. Richard, if I ever appeared on the podcast, I would be appropriately attired in professional gear because nobody wants to see me in anything else. Like, nobody. I don't want to.
You should, right? Yes, you should show up in a giant like
loofah sponge.
Yeah, like just a tent with a hole in the top. Like
a circus tent. I'll just waddle through the door.
Yeah.
I'll come in a burqa. That's what I'll wear.
Yeah, wear a burqa. That's perfect.
Yeah. No, the burqa's not for it's not for my benefit, it's for everybody else's benefit. Okay. All right. Anyway, so if you want to send a message at any point throughout the show after the show is over, Allison should show up in a hot dog costume. How about a giant ham sandwich?
Yeah, a
Costume.
sandwich. Perfect.
Exactly.
A sandwich.
There you go. If any time
Like Mayor McCheese from the old McDonald's commercials, but it's just Allison. Like I think that'd be great.
Okay, so if you have a message anytime after the show is over, you can send it at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. I see a couple people actually went into the Discord.
Yeah, somebody's asking for the link. It's badgernation.online. I think there's a link in the description of the video too.
Yeah, badgernation.online. And what I've learned is that if you give people who go into the Discord free stuff, you end up with a lot of very, very disruptive people. But the blogging is you can go look at it. You can read it. That's fine. We even had one who was like, I'm going to report you all to the Discord police. I'm like, no, you're not. Bye. Anyway, so feedthebadger.com/justthetip. feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a message. And a tip with that message. Very much appreciated. And badgernation.online if you want to access our community and see the additional material that I generate for these shows. All right. Take it out, Brian.
All right. I do got a couple of super chats, so I'll read them and then we'll close it out. So Shadow Ryu PMP says, words to for €5. Thank you. Words to them are a means of deceiving humans. The line was, I think. That's from Freerin, the anime. And then I got $2 from Mr. Newbed, who says, you were going to close without playing this? And I just did. So there you go. All right. So thanks, guys, for coming on the stream and joining us for this. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show. What are your thoughts on our thoughts on the debate? What are your thoughts on the debate? And were there any highlights that you thought we should have responded to? I mean, it was like an hour and a half long. We couldn't have possibly had the time to go through the whole thing. So anyways, share the video because sharing is caring. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on this episode of Maintaining Frame. And we will talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.